Hey everyone, this is Zach with Nerdbot, and this is the Nerdbot Gamecast.
Hey!
That was I always love your energy coming in. Like, it'll die down in like an hour.
No, you're wearing like one of those shirts that they might sell at Bass Pro Shops, man. You're going to be selling some fish bait today?
So obviously, you guys can't see, I'm wearing a green plaid shirt, so that's why Aaron said that. Thank you for that, Aaron.
You're welcome, sir.
And introducing yourself.
Oh, yes, Aaron Golden, how are you?
I'm doing well.
And warm, I bet.
I am warm. This is I think it's called a fleece. Is that what this is called?
It's fleece season.
It's fleece season?
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Whatever you say, Aaron. And that third voice is none other than the beautiful, the one, the only.
David Amadeus Pacheco, writer and photographer extraordinaire.
And you forgot model.
And model, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm
what I
a
like.
model.
All right. So, starting us off, we are going to get in. Let's just get into it.
Straight up.
What have we been playing, guys? Let's start with you, Aaron.
Dude, I've been playing Rise of Iron, the greatest DLC known to man since the Taken King of Destiny.
All right, go ahead.
That sigh brings me more energy, so keep sighing.
You know what brings me a lot of energy too? Psy, the musician.
Well, this is for your psyche.
All right.
No, dude, this gives us a reason to keep on playing this game. And this Destiny's all about bang for your buck, and I'm all about bang for my bucks. I pay bills, man, and bills cost money, dude.
What? Okay, all right. Oh,
Yeah.
no, okay, all right. That makes sense. Like, normally, if it was you, I would be like, all right, he's slowly turning insane on us. But no, this is just you.
Because some people like to buy stuff and trade stuff in every other week, like people who are sitting across from me. I like to get the most out of my games, and that's what you do when you buy DLC.
It's not my fault. Destiny is garbage, and I had to trade it in.
I know that you're saying it really low right now.
Actually,
because
no.
you're not proud of doing that.
I traded Destiny in, but I bought it again digitally to make sure it wouldn't happen. So I'm in recovery. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine because your guardian stays with you no matter what.
I wish I could trade it in. I bought it digitally first.
It was funny. I bought it digitally on my PS4, and I was thinking about trading my PS4 at one point because I wanted to upgrade.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder how much they'll give me. They'll probably give me like $200, but when they find out Destiny's on there, they'll probably drop it down to like $180.
It's funny because I actually got Destiny for the reason that you could. It gave you the incentive to upgrade.
Yeah.
To the newer system because you could buy it. It's the last game for your old gen. You could play it, progress, and then when you switch over, all your stuff transferred over.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple games that made me want to upgrade clearly. I was going to do it anyway, but one was Battlefield 4 on 360.
Oh, yeah.
Those graphics look like Nintendo 64 graphics.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh, if you saw the difference from Battlefield 4 to on Xbox One or PlayStation 4 compared to PS3 and Xbox 360, dude, they were ripping people off, man.
I also heard they had to put an additional patch even on the Xbox One to improve the graphics.
Well, on top of that, I think graphically was a huge thing. But the thing that Battlefield did specifically that made it was because of the extra processing power in like the Xbox One and the PS4. You could actually go up to 64 players as opposed to like we're used to playing it on Xbox One and PS4. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But the actual cap on the previous gen was 32, which like fundamentally changes the way that you play that. So
the other game was Grand Theft Auto 5. So those two games came out right before Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out. So those are the two games. Well, actually, Grand Theft Auto would let you bring your progress over to the next system. Yeah. But those were the two games for me that I had to definitely go with the new console at the time. Just kicked you right off.
So, anyways. Tell us about
the greatest game ever?
No, we're not talking about Undertale, Final Fantasy X, Grand Theft Auto 5, Metal Gear Solid 5, Suikoden 2, Grandia 2, Grandia 3. Anyways, sorry, go ahead.
Man. So Lord Saladin.
Oh, Fire Emblem, of course.
Should I get into this? Lord Saladin, he's the last of the remaining Iron Lords.
Saladin, I think.
There's a plague called the Siva that's taking over the land, and we need you, the Guardians, to help me out here. So then, if you do it, you'll get a Galahorn, and Galahorns are amazing.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Well, let me ask you this.
Light level jumps up to 400, gives you more incentive to play this amazing game.
Let me ask you this as a lapsed Destiny fan, because I think Taken King was really, really good. Like I think almost objectively, as somebody who hates Destiny, Taken King was a huge step in the right direction to me.
Sure, it was.
But my issue with Rise of Iron, from what I heard of it, or from what I read on it and all that stuff, I haven't actually tried it. Probably, I don't know if I ever will. Was I felt like they didn't introduce enough new stuff. In Taken King, they had all three. Like there was 3 new subclasses. That's crazy to me. Like that, because that kind of like fundamentally changes the way you play the game. One thing I'm really curious about is I want to say they're called relics. Are a big point in this one.
Yeah.
And they have like unique abilities.
Right.
Can you tell me about those?
Yeah,
If they're cool or not? Or if it changes things substantially?
No, some of these relics are awesome. In fact, there's a relic I just got recently where I can tell if somebody has their super, and what the super is, and this is, right before you use your special ability once it loads up. So I can tell if I'm in a hallway, and usually if somebody's about to use a super, they're gonna just kill me, or I'm like escape like Batman rarely. So if I can see that his super
escape like Batman,
but rarely.
But like, do you shoot a grappling? Never mind.
I'm saying like he's a knight, ninja, whatever.
Okay.
If you're the hunter,
maybe
you
I'm wrong.
could.
Anyway, but what it does is that just this particular one is I can know where you are with your super, and so I can charge in or back off.
That's cool, yeah.
And that adds, and I feel I'm pretty good at first-person shooters anyway when it comes to multiplayer. So that gives me a few more kills in itself, and that is so awesome. Now there's a few other. There's a few other things that to give you different abilities, and so I haven't got them just yet.
Yeah.
But it gives you an edge. It's a pretty cool edge, and so you can kind of combat that, against another player who may have something else.
Cool. Sounds good. I mean, I'll say this. That is the one thing that sounds cool about Rise of Iron, and like I say, the one, is the idea that these relics actually have like pretty significant changes for gameplay. Mm-hmm. Like I remember one was like if you melee an NPC, if you melee and kill an NPC, they'll like join your, like they'll like be allied to you for a short amount of time. Like stuff like that is pretty cool, but I felt like there isn't enough of that in it. But I'm interested to
I've
hear.
seen that already. Yeah, I've seen that. I was playing
a
few times. As you know, I put in so many hours into this game.
Yeah, too many.
So it does help because since the light level raises the challenge, of the enemies and just how difficult it's really tough to even solo that stuff. So you really need your teammates. You got to have chemistry going on because once the light level raises, there's some stuff you just can't even take on by yourself.
It's funny. You think it's impossible to solo anything, and then you see a YouTube video of someone soloing everything.
Yeah, and so I never will be on that level.
It's funny because that's always the case in pretty much like any type of like RPG for that matter. Like I remember like World of Warcraft would come out and the raid would happen, like the first big raid, and everyone would be like, oh man, it's amazing. And then like a month later, there's like a YouTube video of a guy soloing it, as opposed to the 40 people that are working. I'm like, man, this is so upsetting.
Just today,
right?
I mean,
it's kind of upsetting because you're like, holy shit, you think the game you need the teamwork, you would think you would need it, and then you see someone just completely disregard the whole thing.
It's like skill and stats trump that.
Right.
But cool, man.
I mean, just today I saw one guy just taking on Trials of Osiris, which is 3-on-3.
Wait. He played it by himself against 3 people?
Yes, and he won. He won a few rounds. In fact, he won 15.
Hold
15
on.
matches.
I can see that.
In a row? Is Trials of Osiris, is that the Horde mode one?
No. Trials of Osiris is a weekend only.
PvP mode.
Yeah, PvP mode.
Right.
Elimination.
Okay, I always get that. And what is it? Prison of Elders.
Yeah, Prison of Elders.
Those are okay. I always get those confused. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I've seen a video of someone soloing the Prison of Elders too.
Of course.
It's insane.
Anyways.
But and like you were saying, just people out there, their skills are just. I mean, Destiny brings out the best out of people and their skills.
My skill level in Destiny is to compensate for 1 or 2 people who are complete and total garbage.
Mm-hmm.
That was always my favorite.
It's like because you're going to be stuck on a team with at least 2 people who suck.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, that's how it is, unfortunately. All right, cool. Moving on, David. What you been playing?
I've been playing Shantae and the Pirate's Curse.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that game. There's 2 things that I love about it. One, it's a Metroidvania-style platformer.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, it has like one of the greatest soundtracks of any handheld game ever.
Really nice. And it's for 3DS or Vita?
It's for the 3DS. Eventually, I know they're going to release it for Steam because they released the other 2 titles for Steam as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's weird because I didn't necessarily like them when I was younger, but like Metroidvanias are like low key my favorite genre around. Like I love them. Go ahead.
It's the element of discovery when you play the game that I really like. Plus, backtracking can get annoying. And I understand that because there's some games where you're forced to backtrack and it really is annoying. But when you when you play a game and it was difficult to get to that upgrade, and then you're like, holy crap, there's a new area that you discover, or you notice there's an area that you could get to, but you just can't get to it yet because it's not. It doesn't get unlocked until you're like pretty like far into the game.
Yeah.
You get excited to go back and explore a new area in a place that you thought was very familiar.
Yeah, that's always been like one of my favorite parts of those games. Like, have you ever played Rogue Legacy?
I have not.
Yes.
Oh, Rogue Legacy is my jam, and I love that because it's so. So Rogue Legacy is very much like one of these Metroidvania games, except for there's like a component of you start out as like a randomly generated character with randomly generated stats. And then you go into the castle, and it's procedurally generated. So every time you go in, it's completely different.
That's amazing.
And then you die, and then you're ported back to the beginning, another randomized characters. But you can, and this is a huge thing for me, is you can put in points for, like you can use the gold you spent to buy upgrades.
I think I have played this game, actually.
Back pre-Nerdbot, me and Aaron did a podcast called Gamer and Gameless. Good times. One of the things that I talked about back then, and I still think this, is The Last of Us Remastered came out on the same day as Rogue Legacy for consoles.
Uh-huh.
And actually back then it was for PS4 specifically. Now it's on Xbox, but a part of me is tempted to say that I had more fun. Like, Last of Us is a masterpiece, blah, blah, blah. But a part of me, when those two games came out, I got both. And a part of me was like, man, this shows that, like, for me, gameplay is king because, like, I totally put like 40, 50 hours into Rogue Legacy playing it over and over again. So, yeah.
That's amazing, actually. I really want to look that up now.
Yeah.
Hey, Rogue Legacy is hard, man. When you got me on that game, I would die all the damn time. I died so much. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Right, yeah. And to me, that's like masterful game design is like incentivizing you for like dying. Like, I don't know, have either of you guys ever played Super Time Force?
Yes.
Yes.
Like the idea of playing, dying, and like rewinding time and going back and seeing like your old self do the same stuff behind you. I still maintain that is like I've been playing video games since '94 when I was 5, and that is still probably like one of the most unique gameplay mechanics I've seen yet.
Yeah.
Like that to me. I mean, because I feel like we're so conditioned to like respond to death in video games. Like, like all these games have these iconic sounds. You think of Mario dying, you think of game over screens. Donkey Kong. Especially Donkey. I don't know if you guys played the Wii U Donkey Kongs or the Wii Tropical Freeze.
I have Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, you see the balloon fly off and then like pop up. I'm like, oh, this is depressing. Whereas with Super Time Force, it's like it broke the way I like played. Where I was like, I die, and it was like, if anything, I'm going to die in a specific way, so it's advantageous for me next time around. But
I mean, you're familiar with Spelunky too, right?
Yeah,
Spelunky.
exactly.
Isn't that also another random generated game?
The thing is,
that game is fun and hard at the same time, dude.
So the interesting thing about Spelunky, not the interesting. This is like more common. Is there's no concept of permanence. So for Rogue Legacy, you can die and die and die and die, but you'll keep getting gold. You can keep buying upgrades. You'll like objectively and statistically get better. Whereas Spelunky, that's not the case. Like, yeah.
That actually reminds me of a new game that came out on the Xbox One. I forgot what it was called, but it's like a space shooter game. It's arcade style because the whole point is to kill stuff and then move on to the next area. But every area is a bit random generated. I say a bit because literally you only have like 5 areas, except for you spawn in like different parts of it. And
is it Galaxy by any chance?
I can't remember what it's called anymore. But it's actually rather difficult because you have to refuel. You have to find resources, so you have to like hope you jump to an area that has the resources for you to refuel. And then you also have limited resources in terms of attack strength. And you may or may not jump into an area that has, a few pirates, or you might jump into an area that has an entire armada, and, you're on your last bit of fuel. And so you could either choose to risk exploding upon exit or fighting them for the small bit of fuel to make that safe exit.
That sounds awesome. I mean, I just love I love like such a unique concept. It's not totally unique because it dates back like the original Diablo was procedurally generated, but so like towns weren't, but dungeons were. So like you would go like every time you start that game, like every time you start a new character, you go into a dungeon. It doesn't reset every time you go in, but it resets. So if I play and then my brother creates a character and plays the same part of the dungeon, it'll be totally different. And like bosses and stuff like that were like common throughout. Yeah, but
Actually, I've never played the first one. I've only played the second one. I played the second and the third.
second one is the best game ever.
I've never beat the second one.
Sorry. I just want to be correct for our listeners. When we mentioned relics with Destiny, we're actually talking about artifacts. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Go on.
Those were both like, what were relics? Were relics like the headbands? no, because weren't there two?
I think relics were just stat boosters, weren't they?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's same thing, right? Where it's same thing in terms of like it's something you like equip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too really familiar with relics. I never use them.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
I mean, there's a few relic modes you can do in multiplayer where you have to get the relic as a team-based or a multiplayer game in Crucible.
Gotcha.
And there's a couple of things to use in relics when you're taking down Crota. You gotta use a relic against them.
Nice.
Did they ever fix Crota?
Well, what do you mean by did they ever fix Crota?
Like, do people still cheese them?
There's no reason to play them anymore because they only give you year one weapons.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Year one you loot, so there's nothing to do with that. Well, I wish they would, drop some good stuff for you. It gives you a reason to go back to those raids. They were fun.
Yeah, I mean, if Destiny 2, whatever it's called, if they find a way to make the old raids relevant, I'll happily jump back in.
There'll be new raids,
I've never, definitely, but I still want to try Volta Glass. I still want to try Crota's End.
Have you never beaten Volta Glass?
I've never done a single raid. I actually put probably.
You know what? It is hard to find a team.
And like this is something me and Aaron have argued about for a long time. It's like I think the most ridiculous thing in the world. I love how we got back on Destiny. We'll wrap it up after this, but one of the most ridiculous things in the world is that there's not matchmaking in it, and I get that the raids are hard and require specific precision, but so do raids in World of Warcraft. So do raids in literally everything.
No, I agree.
Like, I mean, World of Warcraft will match you with 40 people, 30, 40, however much a raid group is. Like, you can look for raids. So that was always my biggest frustration was that, like, I'm an adult. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'll work late. So if I'm like, hey, Aaron, let's do the raid at 6. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Eric. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And, like, we plan this. That's really hard as an adult. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. And the thing about this is that you have checkpoints, and they're saved throughout the week until it resets on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And so if you wanted to, at least you'd have 7 days to get back on it, to go back to your checkpoint and all. But, a lot of the Destiny season players, they know about a site called Destiny LFG. Yeah. And so looking for game. And if you need a hunter, you need a titan, you need a warlock.
But I feel like that's one thing that I one of my biggest gripes about the game is that you had to go off game and off site to find a group.
Right.
You couldn't do it
to your liking.
Just in the fact that it's not embedded in.
Exactly.
Is what he's saying.
That it's not a part of the game. Like literally, someone got so frustrated that you couldn't find people to play with that they created a separate service. Mm-hmm. In order for you to match make.
Yeah,
Bungie was like completely complicit with it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. You did our job for us. Congratulations. Good job, community."
Right. And I mean, we're gonna talk a little bit about Bethesda later, but Bethesda is kind of that same way. It's like Fallout and Skyrim mods. Like you think of them as like all of the random videos you see of like replacing the dragons with Thomas the Train or like Randy Savage, but a lot of them are like quality of life changes that were done. Like, hey, we added realistic lighting, like realistic weather effects. We made it so it didn't load within a city. So if you're in a city and you go into a shop, it doesn't load. Stuff like that are things like, Bethesda, you should have done this. Not this like kid from Minnesota.
Same thing with the bug fixes. The community for Bethesda, they basically brought you back the quality that they promised you during the trade shows.
Right.
So they would show off Skyrim and Fallout, and they'd be like, "Look at our realistic water with all these puddles and reflections and stuff." You play the game, and it's none of that. It's murky as hell. and then the community comes back and they bring it back to you in a way that you see it, and it's only 200 kilobytes of information.
It's kind of like going to Best Buy and buying a TV, and then you're like, "Oh, I want that one." You take it home. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah, I mean, but like objectively speaking, it's about 200, maybe 2 or 3 megabytes of information. You're like, "Come on, Bethesda, you cut that out?"
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, anyways, bringing it back to Shantae's.
Yes.
I love how somehow we managed to get on Destiny. Damn it, Aaron, you always do this. He brings every conversation back to Destiny. So you said it's for 3DS?
It's for the 3DS. It's one of the best platformer games I've played since Donkey Kong Country 2.
Ooh, that's a high bar.
And its music is on par with David Weiss. Oh. David Weiss, by the way, is the guy who made the music for Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
Its music is amazing.
Did he do Banjo-Kazooie?
I think he did one of the Banjo-Kazooies. I know for sure he didn't do Donkey Kong Country 64.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Donkey Kong 64 is the anomaly, but cool, man. All right, so I'll talk about I've been playing a couple games, but there's one that stands out, and that would be Titanfall 2.
I still have
Please go on.
So, for context, me and Aaron talked about this a lot. Titanfall 1 had its problems to me, like in terms of, a lack of a story, a lack of a campaign. And I say lack of a story, meaning like there's really no story there. There was probably somewhere deep in there, but then you have also the lack of an actual single-player campaign. Like the best gun, I think, almost objectively in that game was the carbine. You start out with, and that was the problem. Is there wasn't a lot to hold. There wasn't a lot to lock out, but mechanically, like the shooting, the traversal, it was like borderline perfect.
Perfect.
It still to me is mechanically the best shooter I've ever played.
So good.
It's as smooth as melted butter on wax paper.
Right. It's like I remember in fact my roommate saw me playing Titanfall 2 nights ago, and he saw me like running on wall, like run up a wall, jump off, grapple onto a Titan, then rodeo the Titan, and he was like, "Man, I don't think I'll ever be able to play a game because it looks so complicated." It's like it's really not.
No.
Like, and it shows that's how good it was. But so, anyways, I played the tech test, which is a ridiculous name for, I guess, like a beta or a stress test, but they called it a tech test for Titanfall 2. Did either of you guys actually try that when it came out?
I downloaded the beta, but I was busy working, so I did not get to play.
No, I didn't.
So you've never. Oh, I thought you. Okay, all right. Well, I'm excited.
No, that's why I've been so interested because I am a Titanfall owner.
Okay,
and
I'm sorry. Speaking of Titanfall, I have this one gripe. I bought Titanfall, and then the next day they gave it out for free.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you must have bought it like a year later or so.
Yeah, I did.
More than a year. I think
it was more than a year later. It's because I was late to the Titanfall thing, and so I bought it, and then the day after they gave it away for free with all the DLC included.
When you bought it, though, at that time, I think that's when Titanfall should have came out because all the DLC that came out after when Titanfall came out, it seems nobody played that because they moved on to other games.
They did.
And that's what made – and I went back to Titanfall recently this year with a few buddies, and we were playing some modes they didn't have. And we were playing Capture the Flag, but that was fun. Capture the Flag is fun. In fact, I was telling Zach, that's some of the best Capture the Flag I played since Halo 2. Just fun, dude.
Yeah. And like one of the – and this was the thing is like – a year after Titanfall came out was a totally different game. Different game.
It was definitely more fun. Because I brought my friends back to play the game with me after I downloaded it, and they said the exact same thing. They're like, this game is completely different, and it's way more fun than when it came out.
Yeah, and I think like they added a mode. I believe it was called Frontier Defense, and it was like Horde mode.
The Horde mode.
And I was like,
6 rounds.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
like this is really good. Like you're setting up turrets. Like there are different types of Titans. There's just like a Titan that will charge you. There's like a Titan that like will sit there and volley rockets from like across a map. And like, excuse me, I had a burp. Like it was really, really, really good, and like
but nobody knew about it.
Well, nobody knew about it because it came out like those modes. They had, and I think they had another mode which was like you can't touch the ground.
Yes.
I never tried it, but like
no, that's a fun freaking mode.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Is that mode?
I bet you it's like super fast paced. I don't think I played that one.
No, that's a fun mode because there's nothing but electric smoke at the bottom.
Oh, nice! That's cool. I didn't know that was a caveat.
Is lava? Is that what it's called?
Probably. But the thing. So with Titanfall 2, right? Now this is probably my fault. I needed to adjust my expectations going into that tech test. I was expecting, this is just Titanfall 1, but with more. And in many ways, that's true. In many ways, it's not. So there's a couple huge changes. Initially, no matter what happened, so in Titanfall 1, your timer for your Titan is constantly ticking down. Like, so
Yeah.
it's a timer. In Titanfall 2, in the tech test, and I gotta give it up to why was I about to say Infinity Ward? Respawn. Because they totally listen to feedback. Initially, in the Titanfall 2 tech test, they didn't have that. It was a matter of you get a kill, then you get some. As opposed to it just constantly ticking down. So you're constantly working towards your Titan, as opposed to like if you're not getting kills, you're just not going to get a Titan. So then, like when I was playing the tech test, it got to the point where there were games where I didn't see a Titan, which is like that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's such a huge component of the game.
Well, it's called Titanfall.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Pilot Hunter.
Yeah, and it was. I was just like, that's a kind of a big deal. So. And then they were like, oh, they show this mode called Bounty Hunt, which is like you kill somebody, you get money. If you die, you lose your money, but you have to bank your money. And I was like, oh, this sounds terrible. And they're saying, yeah, this is the extension of attrition. I know you didn't like attrition, but attrition was my favorite mode by far. And I think
I like attrition.
Yeah, I think not unanimously, but I think it's pretty common that most people liked attrition. I know you didn't like the grunts and stuff like that.
Attrition was all about who can be the most aggressive. And while that's a great concept, and you should be aggressive when it comes to first-person shooters. I want credit for killing me. I mean, I want you to get credit for killing me, not for killing the AI.
Well, I mean,
and I want to kill you. I don't want to get credit for killing the AI.
You did get it substantially more for killing somebody, but anyways, so let's
classic multiplayer. I get credit when I kill you.
Well, you do get credit. You'll still get credit. It's just less for killing somebody else, killing a grunt.
bot.
But anyways. They were like the wording that they used was that it wasn't going to come back, attrition. And I was like, what? And a lot of people were really upset about that. And then flash forward, they were like, all right, we heard your guys' complaint. The Titan counter is constantly going. You don't get much, but you get a little bit every 5 seconds. You get like a little blip, which they did not have before, which is crazy to think. And then they added attrition, and the big change for me is Titans don't have shields. So
they don't have shields anymore?
They don't have regenerating shields. So
that's good, because it was a pain in the ass.
Well, it's funny because I hate that's what turned me off the most is like I was like, because now you call out a Titan and like, all right,
everyone targets.
Yeah, and like a Titan will get destroyed like that.
Well, you gotta be strategic about it, because
even when you're strategic, there are elements you can't control. Like, 'cause think of it like this: if there's another Titan and there's a pilot who's shooting you with an anti-Titan weapon, you can generally only do something about one of them. And when you don't have regenerating health, if I'm focusing on the dude who's locking onto me, or I'm focusing on the Titan, I can't focus on the other one necessarily. So it's like it substantially decreases the amount of time your Titan's out, which some people like that, but I think most people are kind of like, oh man, that's weird. So
do you still have that magnetic bullet thing?
So, and here's the other thing is like Titans, you can customize your Titans, right? But not like before. They're like classes now. So this Titan is called Ion. He comes with that weapon. He comes with this ability and this ability and this ability. And you can kind of interchange them in a very minimal way, but the weapon stays the same. Most of the abilities stay the same. So like you can't create a Titan now, which is kind of weird. But this is all to say, at first I was like, nope, they ruined Titanfall. After playing it some more and understanding that I have to, and this isn't something you necessarily want from consumers, but understanding, okay, I just can't play this the way I used to play it. Now I never get to my Titan. I keep my Titan on follow, and I only call out my Titan when I have 2 or 3 other Titans out on my team.
Yeah,
like I don't at all. Like get my.
So you got to be really strategic about it.
Yeah, now as an element of strategy.
Yeah, which I like that, but at the same time, I would have appreciated regenerating shield. Just give me that. Even if they regenerate super slow, give me that, because that's a huge thing. Because like, if I get hit, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna die pretty soon. Like, there are weapon combinations you could use to take out Titans like that, and with no regenerating shields, it's kind of a pain. But all in all, I haven't tried the campaign yet, and a lot of people are talking about, like, a lot of people are saying that the campaign is pretty profound. Like it breaks the mold. So,
and all your achievements are pretty much going to be through that.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love it when a bunch of achievements are through the single player. I hate it when they're like mostly focused on multiplayer.
Right.
Because sometimes I feel like multiplayer started as an afterthought on some games, and then it ends up being the main point of the game. And I'm just like, why
Right.
Like, literally, why are you doing this to me? Like, I don't want to play this type of game with a bunch of other people.
Right, and it's interesting because I think that's a problem when the multiplayer isn't necessarily good. Like Assassin's Creed hasn't had multiplayer in quite a while. Well, Unity had co-op, but
exactly my point.
I think I think it was 3 and 4. Like you needed, like the majority of the trophies were multiplayer focused, and it's like, oh, no one cares about that. But then at the same time, games like Last of Us. Like me and Aaron, that was like the foundation of me and Aaron's friendship was playing Last of Us, and like I was like, oh, it's a cool campaign. It's like, I mean, it's a cool single player game, but
stealthy.
But the multiplayer was like so special. Like there was like a level of like I totally think it was an afterthought, but at the same time, it's like I've never played a game that was truly strategic. Like the Last of Us multiplayer.
So rewarding when you got to kill somebody.
Right?
And there were different ways to kill somebody, but when you won that round, woo! Yeah, man, it felt good.
Yeah, seriously. But, so all in all, I'm really enjoying Titanfall 2. I didn't think I was. Again, you have to change the way you play Titanfall. But generally, I really, really like the multiplayer. I can't wait to, I've just been so hooked on the multiplayer. But generally, you're going to have to change the way you play. But when you do, it's awesome. There's way more customization in terms of like the actual pilot. There's more abilities. They have these things called boosts, and boosts are like once you hit the 50% meter of the Titan, you'll get like an ability or something like that. Nice. So instead of having to wait,
burn cards you're talking about, or
no, they don't have burn cards anymore. But they're kind of like burn cards. So do you remember one of the common burn cards was like amped?
Yeah.
Assault. Yes. So that's gone. No more burn cards. Instead, you could choose a boost. And a boost, again, it's like if you get to, let's say 50%, it changes based on the boost. But one of them is amped weapons. So it just amplifies whatever weapons you have. And you unlock that when you hit the 50% mark of your Titan. One of them is like ticks. You throw them, they're like bombs that go out and seek people. One of them is like a straight up UAV. Like Call of Duty style. It just reveals the location of everyone on the enemy team to your entire team. Like, there's a lot of really, really cool things. And the last thing I'll say about it, because I know we're going on about this and we got to get into the news, but the idea of strategy is like, a lot of people are like, oh, this game is strategic, but it's kind of like this vague, nebulous statement. But in this, it really is. So if you destroy a Titan, right, or if one of your Titans get destroyed, it drops a core, a battery. Or if you rodeo a Titan, you'll pull out their battery. Okay. Now, with that battery, you can hop onto one of your Titans, and when you use that on them, then it does give you a rechargeable shield. But that's a pain in the ass.
Oh, that's only when you call your brand new Titan and it comes down?
No. So if there's a Titan out, be it yours or somebody else's, and if you rodeo a Titan, you pull one out, you could hop onto one of yours. And then you shove the battery in the back, and then you get a rechargeable shield.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
So I was playing with my brother and my other friend, and like we called one down, and like again, I don't even try to get my Titan. I'm like, you do your thing, and you do your thing, Titan. You try to get some kills, and I saw a battery. I was like, oh, let me get this, and my brother called out his Titan, and I was like, hey, I got you, man. Jumped on pack and put it back in, and then he was just destroying people, and I was like,
your brother, man.
I mean, me and David feel the same way, but like. Overwatch, like I love support characters. The idea of literally supporting my team as opposed to just killing someone, like literally supporting my team.
It's even better.
Sounds awesome.
It's even better when you're the support and you're killing their team.
Yeah. So and that's the fantasy that Titanfall feels. Where like I'll be dropping people, I'll see a battery, I'll scoop it up, I'll pop it into one of my friends' Titans. That's such a cool thing. Round. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to get like Aaron. You're gonna be getting it soon, right?
Yes, I am gonna be getting it soon.
You know what? Based on what you're telling me, I will probably get it soon too.
Oh, we got a squad.
Well, right now it's not even selling well, from what I heard. It's going against Gears right now, and the Call of Duty is about to come out.
You know what?
I
finished the campaign within 1 day.
Of Gears.
Yes, and I like it. It reminds me very much of Gears of War 1.
Okay, can we put a pin in that and talk about it next week? Because I actually do want to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay.
All right.
We'll talk about it later.
Let us move on to the news.
Yes.
I try to make it dramatic, and I think I did. Okay. So, one of the big things that happened this week was, and I can't believe this is the case, but so according to Eurogamer, Super Credible, all of their sources usually pan out, is that next week, Wii U will stop production. That doesn't mean they're going to stop making Wii U games. It doesn't mean they're going to stop making. It doesn't mean Wii U's aren't going to go on sale anymore. but most of the Wii U's in the ethos that are out there right now, according to this report, and again, Eurogamer has a great track record with their sources, it will stop production. And so this is crazy for a couple reasons. Wii U was obviously considered a failure. Like let's not say a failure. It wasn't a success.
Yes.
Especially on the heels of Wii, that sold like 11 trillion in the first 5 minutes. Wii U didn't hit its mark.
Wait, it sold that much?
No, I'm joking. 11
Like,
trillion.
I know it sold the most out of all consoles because it appealed to casual gamers, and they were in love with that.
Appealed to freaking grandparents.
Grandparents and kids. Because their game's mostly focused on gameplay.
I would say not even grandparents, kids. Like, I mean, the idea of motion control sounded awesome. And the idea of motion control is awesome. But
they were poorly executed on the Wii.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's crazy for a couple of reasons. Now we know the Switch, the newly announced Switch, is coming out in March. We don't have an exact date. We don't have an exact price, but it's a little early. It's not a little. I was talking to David about this beforehand, and what he said is true. He said, "No, that's not a little. That is you're absolutely right. That is super early."
Yeah.
Because to kill the production of your console, what, 4 or 5 months before your next one is even out is crazy. Like, that is the ultimate form of, in my opinion, of admitting defeat.
Yeah, because aren't they still making Xbox 360s and stuff?
Yeah, I think
so. Yeah, like,
they stopped making games.
PlayStation 3s are probably still going.
I am sure they are.
Usually they still keep making them about 1 to 2 years after the new console comes out. After they come out, not before.
Well, yeah, I was just telling Zach before the podcast started that, reason being, it's probably, any store probably has an abundance of Wii U's that are just collecting dust in their inventory.
Right.
Plus, no one wants to get one now because the Switch is. I mean, given the choice between Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild on the Wii U or on the Switch, I'm going to get it on the Switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, of course, dude. Look, the Wii U had about 5 or 6 good games in a 4 or 5 year span. Xbox and PlayStation get 5 to 10 good games a year, if not more. So, and we know what those 5 games were? Probably Splatoon. Tropical Freeze.
Yep.
Mario Kart.
Yep.
Smash Brothers.
Yep.
And the 5th one would be Bayonetta.
Yeah.
We're talking Wii U, right?
Wii U. I mean, those are the top 5
I
there.
think Pikmin 3. I said that piece super. Pikmin
5 to 6, maybe.
Pikmin 3 was really special to me.
Pikmin 3 came out?
Yeah.
What?
Did you?
How have I not heard of this?
Dude, it's out, yeah. Well, you haven't heard of it because it's on Wii U.
That's my favorite.
There you go.
Even worse, it came out in the early days of Wii U.
Early days.
So
that's probably why.
Yeah, that was
super. Yeah,
when there was only 5 Wii U's. Now there's 6. But you know what's the other thing about Wii U? It's funny because you bring up the idea that stores have a lot of in stock. Okay. There are so many SKUs out of every console now. There's an Xbox One. There's an Xbox One terabyte. There's an Xbox One S. There's an Xbox One S with 500 gigs. There's an Xbox One. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Scorpio that's coming out.
But I am like, don't even get me. And the PlayStation 4 Pro comes out next week. I know because I pre-ordered one. Dab. But I'm looking at it right now, and the Nintendo Wii U with Mario Kart, which I think is the main and one of the main and only SKUs. I think it's the main one. Is $300 at Best Buy, Toys R Us, and Fry's. That is insane. Yeah, $300. Considering that an Xbox One, I think a 500 gig Xbox One S is that amount. And like this
Nintendo never.
and that's the thing.
Nintendo.
Like Nintendo makes such a great software, and their hardware is cool too. But they sell it at ridiculous prices. Like they said, I think a couple days ago they did come out and say, we are not selling Switch at a loss, which implies that it's going to be on the pricey side.
Zach, 3 years ago, games like Tropical Freeze came out and a few others. They just dropped to $20 like 5 months ago.
Right.
Yes. Oh, that's the one thing I hate about Nintendo is that they will not price drop any of their games.
And it's funny too because it's not like hey, the prices don't drop. They've straight up said, yeah, we think our games don't depreciate in value.
Yes,
and it's like,
every game does.
Yeah. I'm like, as dope as Tropical Freeze is, I can get a good indie game like that for $20.
Yeah,
and I can get it on sale for $5. You know, and that's that arrogance is what gets me every single time. And then another thing is, and I think this is one of the big reasons why they're cutting off production so early is like Nintendo is and always has been incredibly afraid of having too much of a hardware out there and not enough sales. So I hopped on the 3DS train pretty late. And when I got it, I was like, oh man. And I love JRPGs, as you guys know.
I do
love
too,
RPGs just in general. And there's a lot of really good ones on 3DS. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get this. And I was like, you know what? One of my favorite games back in the day was Ocarina of Time. I'm going to get that.
Yep.
I couldn't find any at like Best Buy or GameStop or anything. No. And like,
can you go online?
Yeah, I'd have to go online and I'd have to like buy them off of eBay and stuff like that. I'm like, I just want to give you guys money for this game.
Right. Or if you go on their digital store, it's still full price.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, what is going on? And this has always been a trend with Nintendo. Like analysts said, hey, the Wii, not the Wii U, it's going to sell a lot because people care about motion controls. It's the first time you're going to get motion controls in front of people for cheap. I think it was like $250. It's going to sell. With that, they still didn't manufacture enough, so there was this huge void. And like Wii U, we sold a lot, but one of the reasons why I sold a lot is because there was this demand that was never met. You know, so I think that's the issue that they have. Like even from the 3DS standpoint, if you go buy a 3DS section in GameStop and Best Buy, it's pretty small. Even though 3DS has like some of the best games on
and 2DS still sells too, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's just the interesting thing is like I think they're always afraid. Same thing with like amiibos, like how there was this huge amiibo scare, and it's just because everyone is too afraid. Or no, I'm sorry, not everyone. Nintendo is like too afraid to have like a backstock.
Yes, they definitely are.
And it's like
super annoying.
Yeah, and like even one of the things they said about the Switch was that there are going to be less Switches at launch.
Why?
Than Wii U. And they didn't really give a reason why.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy some, and then I'm going to sell them at a market. I'm going to mark up the prices.
That's the way to go.
That's what I do with the PS3. I bought 3 of them.
Did you really?
I bought 3 of them.
I had a friend of mine.
I sold them for like triple the price almost.
I had a friend of mine, I won't name him. He bought like 10 Xbox 360s when they came out, and he was going to sell them. But he's also a procrastinator. so he sold them. He waited to sell them. And he waited and waited and waited until like there wasn't a demand for them anymore, so he just sold them at like a loss. I was like, all right, procrastination fails.
No, man, I sell them like almost immediately. Like as soon as I get it, I'll put them up for sale. Because I'd rather make the extra $400.
Well,
and
that's what VR did. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
PlayStation VR, they just are going back in stock now, but I'm sure people made money just buying them recently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's interesting. We'll see if Nintendo comments to say, yeah, this is true. But again, Eurogamer has a pretty good track record.
I believe them, considering that they don't make enough of anything anyway.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean that's the thing is it totally aligns with like you're like what they're cutting off and go yeah, of course Nintendo's doing that.
Is it safe to say that Wii U has sold less than GameCube?
Yes.
Actually, I don't like they put out the numbers. I want to say I'm gonna look this up, but yeah. So another piece of news that I want to talk about here, what you guys had to think is so. Bethesda has gone out and said that they will no longer be sending early review copies for any of their games. I think they said they'll send them to press a day before. But if you know Bethesda games, they're
buggy.
Well, they're buggy, but they're also incredibly long.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it's like if they sent us Skyrim or Skyrim 2, which isn't going to happen, Elder Scrolls 6, whatever the next one is.
People are going to buy.
But also, if they were to send it the day before,
you can't review it.
Yeah, it's like those games. Some of those games are arguably like you could go through them in maybe 15 to 20 hours. But even then, it's like who wants to play a game like that?
Yeah.
The intro to Fallout 3 took me 3 hours.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty
just going in and out of a door.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, yeah, Fallout was real bad. But I think this is This is indicative of like kind of, I mean, like a problem because I remember when I was in, I want to say second or third grade, I went on IGN64.com, which was one of the first bits of reviews that I started consuming, which was IGN's website back then.
Oh yeah.
And now, so let's say that other companies start doing this, not sending review copies out. That kind of changes the ways reviews are because a lot of people use reviews to inform the way they make purchases.
I mean, there's two things right now. Some companies don't want to release a beta because if people don't like the beta, it's going to affect their sales.
Right.
Well, then that means they made a shitty game.
Well, or not. But then, if we give you the game right when it comes out, that's not going to affect our sales either. Because, people are going to buy based upon our name and the hype that the game was getting beforehand.
Well, Bethesda...
So these are the reasons.
Aside from being buggy, they generally have good quality games. So their name is just them slapping their name to something is enough to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zach, I almost didn't get the Division when I played the beta.
Yeah.
I was going to get it.
It's funny, the beta actually made me get the Division, but then when I played the final game, I was extremely bored really fast.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I felt. But it's interesting because, so I like reading reviews. I like reading video game reviews as an academic point.
It's fun,
and like it's interesting to learn other people's perspectives, but they almost never inform how I purchase things.
No.
I think BioShock 1 and 2 were highly, highly, highly reviewed. And
I still haven't played 1 and 2.
You're doing a service because all right. I'm gonna stop my shit talking and to say I think that BioShock 1 and 2 are overrated. The reviews, the mass criticism, which is positive, the mass appreciation of it, to me didn't match up with the product. Batman versus Superman, I enjoy. Most people hate that movie. And I think that the biggest one is Uncharted. I think the Uncharted series is generally nowhere near as good as the 10s they get. But at the same time...
Wait, they got 10s?
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves every Uncharted. Because
they're phenomenal, that's why.
There we go.
They're damn good.
But
I don't think I've ever really played a game that truly deserved its 10, not even Metal Gear Solid 5.
Last of Us.
Metal Gear Solid 5 got a 10 because it had incredible gameplay. But it was seriously lacking in storyline, and that is more than enough to not give it a 10. But it still got a 10.
I don't
almost across the board too.
So to me, it did gameplay so well that to me it merited its 10. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is a lot of people care about reviews. I am totally aware that I'm in the minority that I don't I read reviews to see people's perspectives, not to inform my buying purchases.
Me too.
But if you are somebody who can only afford like I was a year ago, who can only afford to get a game or two a year, the idea that now you can't get any insight on this, but say I really want to get Fallout 4, but I only have $120 that I could realistically spend on games a year. I want to have an informed purchasing decision. Now Bethesda has taken that away. That is, to me, kind of a shitty situation.
Yes.
Because, all right, Doom was the same way. They did not send out review copies of Doom, but Doom was awesome.
They did give a beta, though.
Yeah, they gave a beta, but it was a multiplayer data. And the thing that made Doom, the thing that I think most people loved about Doom was the campaign. I mean, the multiplayer was cool, but, and same thing with Mafia. There were no reviews up of Mafia 3. And Mafia 3 is arguably because the gameplay is super repetitive. But I don't know. It's upsetting to me. It's upsetting to me to hear that that voice is now shut out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And before I even buy a game, that I always look at a review no matter what, and that's just what I do now because I'm such a huge gamer, and if I want to buy something, I want to make sure I'm getting what's going to be good, what's credible. I ask my friends first and foremost because anytime I buy a game, I never really play by myself. I want to play with my buddies, and that's what's important to me. A game can be a 6, but if everybody's getting it, our friends are getting it, I'm gonna get it because you know what?
Yep.
It brings your fun and brings the game. It could be a 6, but if you have fun with your friends, it could go up to an 8 or a 9 just based upon that. And so those are reasons why I decide to buy a game. And no, I picked up Doom. And I picked it up about a month and a half, 2 months after it came out, and it dropped down to $20.
Yeah.
Oh, that's upsetting.
And I picked it up for $20, and I played the first 4 levels, and this game is beyond damn dark.
I want to get it now.
You can't see anything in this game, dude. It's so damn dark, but it's fun at the same time.
Oh, you mean dark visually?
Visually, I can't see shit.
Yeah,
I thought thematically.
I thought you meant tonally too. I thought you were just saying. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's what
no,
it does involve Satanism, so yes, I would imagine it's very dark.
Turn up the contrast. Oh my gosh, dude. So, no, Doom's a fun game. I haven't played the multiplayer yet, but dude, it's like I know I wasn't gonna buy it because it didn't get a review.
Right.
That's just how it was.
Yeah, and I think. Excuse me. I mean, all three of us feel this way, but I think for the most part, that's not how most people are.
Yeah.
I think of like I thought Fallout 3 when I first started playing Fallout 3. I was like, it's all right. And then like towards the end of Fallout 3, I loved it. I was like, man, this game's awesome. Like this game is like really something special. And then I was like, based on that, I was like, Fallout 4 is going to be awesome.
Yep.
Right.
And then I thought Fallout 4 was pretty disappointing. I thought Fallout 4 was like barely pushed the needle more than Fallout 3, and it's on totally new hardware. So it's like those type of things. Like I was certain that Fallout 4 was going to blow me away, and it was disappointing to me. And it's like that's the issue with like reviews. And then when you factor in the idea that like we are at a point where I shouldn't even say developers, should say, if anything, like marketers and publishers want you to buy this game well ahead of time without having any context. That's where it gets muddy. Because let's think of in the last 6 months, Forza, if you paid, I think it was $90 or $100, you could play the game for not for free, early, like 3 days.
Stupid.
Same thing with Gears. The Gears Ultimate Edition was $100, and I almost got it because I love Horde that much. We could play it like 3 or 4 days early. Plus, you get like all these skins and blah 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 blah. Same thing with Battlefield. There's the early enlisters pack. Like we're past the idea of pre-order bonuses. You know what I mean? We're past the idea if you pre-order this, we'll give you this like the first part of this game for free or whatever. We're past that. We're at the point where like you can play it early.
Yeah.
Like
that's an incentive.
Yeah, like Battlefield, the idea that you can play Battlefield 4 early means you can unlock potentially, not even potentially, objectively better things earlier. So when people play for the first time, they're going to be at a disadvantage. That's how much publishers, and I say publishers because publishers are the ones that handle that usually, not developers. That's how much publishers want you to buy stuff ahead of time. So it even further pushes the idea of like a review doesn't mean shit when they expect you
to buy it early.
To buy it early. Like it's like even if I was able to review it like on time, like when embargo breaks or when the product comes out for that matter, you're still at a disadvantage. So, yeah.
True.
No, exactly. And even with the Battlefield 1 beta, I was able to play that. I played it for a few days. I enjoyed it, but I just knew the game wasn't for me.
Yeah. And that's a fair criticism. And like, and this is another thing is like, remember when there were demos?
Yeah.
Like
demo discs.
But even after demo disc, there were demo disc and then there were trials for games. There were demos for games. So it's like, and I get it. I get it that like game development is hard and it's super expensive. But at the same time, as it like $60 is a lot of money to expect from somebody. So go ahead.
Objectively speaking, actually, games have gotten cheaper.
They have, but still. So it's funny. It's funny that you say that. I don't remember who it was, but one of the lead engineers on the PS3 in an interview I saw on GameTrailers.com back in like 2005 or something like that. He talked about the price of the PS3. The PS3 was like, I think it was
$600.
Like it was $600. And the guy was like, the interviewer was like, hey, a lot of people are like, hey, that's a lot of money. What do you have to say to that? He's like, oh, it's a great value because there's a Blu-ray player in it. And it was like, yeah. That it's a great value, but it's still $600. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. That especially if you adjust for inflation, video games are super cheap. And even if you don't adjust for inflation, Super Nintendo games are like Chrono Trigger was $80 when I got it.
Yeah, and if you adjust for inflation, they're at the price that they're selling those deluxe versions of all the games now, which is like $150, $130.
Yeah, sure. You go to like Starbucks, you get yourself a large coffee, and
that's actually why.
And then you get a snack. You do that 5 days a week. There's your video game right there.
Yeah, and like, but even with that, it's still like the idea that they want this is still a lot of money, and especially when your demographic is generally range from children to maybe post college. That's your main demographic. I don't know about you guys. I was a broke college kid. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Still am, for that matter, basically. And like the idea that you are helping them, or you are forcing them to not be informed for the purchasing is crazy. Let me just real quick. I looked up and understand there's a difference between shipped. If I am a hardware producer, if I'm Nintendo, if I ship a GameCube, it doesn't necessarily mean it's sold, as opposed to sold. But GameCube has to this day shipped 21.74 million, and Wii U has shipped or sold 13. Wow. Now, granted, there still will be more Wii U sales. I still don't think it's going to catch up to GameCube, though.
Well, the price has to drop dramatically.
Yeah, yes. and I don't think it's going to happen. And again, because it's not in production any longer, I don't think it will be.
I think the fact that the production's going to end is probably going to drive the prices up for the remaining Wii Us.
Okay, the Switch is probably, when it comes out, it's going to be what, $350 maybe?
No.
Because when the Wii U came out, I think it was about $300 or so.
I bet you it's going to come out like at $400 or $500. All
right, but whatever the price may be, that's a few weeks before that happens, the Wii U's have to drop in price. They have to drop. I don't care what you do, Nintendo. If you need to drop it down maybe to $175 at least or something.
I might buy a Wii U if they drop it down that low.
Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, I'm interested to see two things with the whole Skyrim, or I'm sorry, just Bethesda as a whole not sending review copies. I'm interested to see one if it sticks. So and I should clarify by saying they said their reasoning, which is disingenuous marketing speak to me, is they said their reasoning is because they want everyone to experience their product simultaneously.
That's
so like yeah, and I'm kind of like huh, that doesn't like what like that's not true. Like
right.
that doesn't help the consumer at all. That doesn't even help. I mean, like it helps them fiscally because like if I'm about to get if I'm the average consumer and if I see that Skyrim or let's say Fallout 4 got a shitty review, I might think twice about getting it. So I understand why they're doing it, but still that doesn't benefit. That doesn't benefit.
I don't know why a company like Bethesda feels they have to do that because you sell well. I mean, you have a reputable company there. It seems like another company would probably do something like that.
I just think they can sell more. You know what I mean? Because they avoid bad press.
There's two things that I don't like about that decision of theirs. One, gamers are going to buy the game anyway. They've already decided. I've already decided which games I'm buying this year.
Yeah.
When I heard about them last year.
Yeah.
So no
reputation.
Right. So I mean, the reviews kind of vindicate my decision. And two, you're still going to get a shitty review if you have a shitty game. No embargo is going to save you from that. And the thing is,
pretty much.
There's always everyone who's smart like myself, even though I decide to get a game, I still wait like almost a month to get the game because for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid enough to waste my money and just be like, oh, I want it because it's the shiny new thing. I wait for a bunch of idiots to do that, and then they give me their reviews, and then based on the level of their reviews and quality of it, I will base my decision.
Yeah, and it's funny because I am definitely one of those idiots because, like, I mean, if it's a game, like, I decided 9 years ago when I saw Final Fantasy 13 Versus, which is now Final Fantasy 15, which comes out in like 4 weeks. I was like, all it was a cutscene of the main character Noctis now, who we didn't know who was just like walking down these steps, and there's like these glass or crystal swords like flying around him, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this game. And then like 9 years later, I'm here and I'm like, I played the demos, but I'm still like, I'm gonna get this game regardless. Like, it's a Final Fantasy, so I mean, like, I'm totally like, there are certain games that I just like have such an affinity and a love towards that I will bypass the whole idea of trying to become informed.
Yep.
And I think most people are like that, but still, it's upsetting to know that they're shoehorned into that decision and they can't be informed now. Yeah. But the other thing I was going to say is the other aspect of like that I'm interested to see is if, like I said, the first thing is if they reverse this. If they come around and they're like, oh, people are actually really upset about this. Never mind, let's continue sending them, because I mean, not that they're the same, but let's not forget about the total 180 that the Xbox One did when it was launched. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, never mind. You don't have to be online all the time. Never mind. You don't have to do this. Never mind. So it's possible.
Still technically have to, though. But that's the funny thing.
Yeah, in a way. But the second aspect is I'm curious if other publishers are going to follow. Because I got to say, as somebody who has been consuming games and games media for upwards of almost 2 decades, it will be weird to see game reviews totally disappear. I remember EGM, I remember Game Fan, I remember Game Pro, I remember Nintendo Power, which was ridiculous because Nintendo Power was owned by Nintendo, so Nintendo was reviewing their own games. Like, what? But anyways, the idea of those potentially going away one day is totally insane.
Going back on Nintendo Power, not only did they review their own games, they also gave you hints on how to beat them. So that's definitely the best thing about that magazine.
Yeah, a little bit of ethical dilemma there. But anyways, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can check us out at nerdbot.com. Our Facebook is nerdbot.com. Ooh, nope, that's just our website again. Facebook.com/nerdbotmedia. That's also our Instagram. And yeah.
And don't forget the Nerdbot Girls.
And the Nerdbot Girls. Check out the Nerdbot Girls. And yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Later.